Good morning. How are you all today? Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. Tell me something, if you can. Why are so many preppers so angry, so depressed, and so confused? Can you answer me that? It is the truth. I don't necessarily. If you want to answer that, please. If you have an opinion, let me know. But I'm going to give you my opinion on it. I'm going to give you my thoughts on it because it's a problem. It really is. It's a beautiful day. I got up this morning. It's Saturday. Happy Saturday. Some of you all observe the Sabbath on this day, and others don't. And whatever you do is good. And let's don't have an argument about it. Okay. Because that's another thing, man. Some people are just always looking for something to find fault in other people. Isn't that the truth? Those are negative people. We don't have a lot of them here. If you're new to us, by the way, welcome to all the new people. We've just had, I think we've had 1,000 new subscribers over the last I don't know, a couple of weeks, something like that, and a whole bunch of new people over on the Patreon channel. It's good to have you. You know, I want to say something about that. Patreon has changed something. I'm not sure. I get different alerts on my phone than I do on my laptop. But it used to, whenever somebody new would join, it would send me a message, and I'd be able to welcome them. I guess they're doing it different now. But anyway, if I can't welcome you individually over on the Patreon channel, welcome you now personally. Thank you. You have found that it's a great place to be, right? And if you're not with us, the link's down below. We'd love to have you. But it's a beautiful day. Got up this morning. It was raining. Kind of that slow, nice rain that you want to sleep through, but then you want to get up so you can enjoy drinking a cup of coffee in it, right? Both. So I fought myself through that quandary and got up and had my first cup of coffee and enjoyed looking out the window at that soft rain on my garden, and it kind of threw me for a loop because I had outside stuff to do today. I mean, I can still do outside stuff, but I had stuff to do that's you don't really want to do when it's wet. And I every morning I start with a devotional, and I watch something, and I'll recommend a channel to you all, Grace Oasis. If you are of a religious bent, what I would say probably 99% of you are. It's a channel I particularly like, and every day they put out something, and every morning I start my day after I pray, I start my day by watching that. And I post a lot of them up over on the church channel. It's done on church. On the Patreon. I don't do it on the YouTube, but anyway. So I listened to that, and then watching the drizzle, soft rain, I got my second cup of coffee, and I did something that I haven't done in a long time. And I just kind of spent an hour watching some other so-called preparedness channels. Channels that some I used to watch and don't anymore. But I thought, okay, what are they? What's going on? What's that? And I will tell you, it was I was disappointed, almost disgusted with the negativity, the fear, the anger that was expressed in these videos. The depression in them. And my thought, was not just, man, it's too bad that these people feel that way. I mean, it's too bad. I don't know where this comes from. But they're misleading so many other people too. And as I went down through the comments, I saw there were just negative, depressed, all of this, all through the comments, and I'm thinking, man, hundreds, maybe thousands of people are not just hearing this message of anger, depression, and confusion, but feel that way themselves, right? Guys, if you struggle with that, let me tell you something. And I don't think most people on this channel do, because you know that I'm one about positivity, right? Even the guy that wrote the foreword in my first book said, this is a story an unbelievably positive story about an unbelievably negative event. You see, people who look at all the negative and are angry and are afraid or are confused and depressed, they are not preparedness-minded people. That's the term that we use here on this channel, PMPs, not preppers, but PMPs, those who have made it a part of their life. And people who are like I say, angry and depressed and confused and all this, they're not PMPs. They're not even preppers. They're victims. And I'm amazed at it seems that there's an increasing number of prepper victims out there. Every day you have a choice as to how you're going to approach the day. Whether you're going to do it through anger, fear, confusion, blah, 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 or whether you're going to refer to that one of my favorite verses in the whole Bible, Psalm 118:24. This is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. What did that say? Did it say we'd be afraid and we'd be angry and we'd be confused and we'd be depressed? No. And let me say something else about that. So many of these channels and so many people, they go on and on and on about how evil the world is. Folks, it's an evil world. It's a terrible world. Things have never been this bad in history of the world, and evil has entered the world. Sin entered the world in the Garden of Eden, for those of you who don't know what I'm speaking of. You don't think that brother against brother hatred and evil has existed much before now? Are you familiar with Cain and Abel? Their first two siblings, one killed the other. And then we know, and these people love to pound on this, Satan is the God of the Lord of this world. He's in charge of this world. No, he's not. He is if you let him be. If you let him be in charge of you, he will be. He wants to be. But refer back to that. Who made this day? Did the devil make this day? Well, you'd think by listening to some people that he did, because if all you can think about is anger and confusion and depression and evil and all this kind of stuff, that's what you're going to think. What's the verse say? This is the day the Lord has made. God, the God who loves you, the God who wants you to live the best life you can. And I don't mean that in a Joel Osteen way. That means he wants you walking with him. And I'll tell you what, I want you to picture yourself walking with your hand in the hand of the good Lord. And he's leading you. And he looks down at you or over at you or however you picture him. And he says, now son or daughter, I want you to be angry today. I want you to be depressed today. I want you to be confused today. I want you to be overcome by the evil in this world. Can you picture that? Of course not. That's ridiculous, right? For he has not given us a spirit of fear. Look that up. Okay. 365 times in the Bible, I say this often, it says, do not be afraid. And by extension, that means don't have anxiety, don't worry. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you are anxious and afraid and worried and angry and depressed, you are not letting the good Lord lead you the way he wants to. You are pulling away from him. You are saying, no, Lord, let go of my hand. I know you say this is the day that you made. We should rejoice and be glad in it. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be angry, and I'm going to be afraid, and I'm going to be anxious and worried and depressed and confused because this world is evil. Do you see how silly and ludicrous that is? Do you see how disgusting that is? Can you imagine the Lord's disgust in that? Think about it. Think about it. It doesn't matter how evil this world is. The world has always been evil. Those who don't realize how evil the world has been need to read a book. They need to study some history. I know I've said this before, but they do. The world has always been full of evil. That doesn't mean you have to be. And you know what evil is? Evil is living outside the will of God. Let me be real clear about that. Evil is living, and sin is living outside the will of God. And if God doesn't want you to be angry and confused and worried and anxious and afraid, then if you're determined to do it, you have decided to live your life outside the will of God. And it's no wonder you're afraid and worried and anxious and confused and depressed. Now, a lot of you I'm not speaking to except to remind you, because a lot of you are going, yep, that's right, because we have positive people on here. What I want to do is try to reach out to those people who are following these doomsayers, because they want to include you. Let me put it this way: living a life in which they are depressed and angry and confused, they want to include you in it. And if they can, and the more you respond to that and leave your comment and say, that's right, it's bad, and list all of the problems in your life, they've got you. They've got you. And you know who else has you? Well, it's not the Lord. How dare any of us look at the world and the life that we have been given by God Himself, the source of all goodness, strength, and love. How dare any of us look at this day that He's given us and say, nope, I'm not going to rejoice. I'm not going to be happy. I'm not going to thank you, Lord, for this day. I'm going to be angry, and I'm going to be hopeless, and I'm going to be confused and anxious and depressed because I know better than you. And you know something else, and I probably should have said this at the beginning. It amazes me of how many of these doomsayers wrap their depressive messages in the Bible and in so-called belief in God. If you believe in God, why don't you act like He tells you to? Why don't you act like you do? Instead of stumbling around and whining and complaining like a bunch of victims. God didn't put you here to be a victim. He put you here to serve Him and glorify Him in your life. If you're confused about whether you're doing that, I'd say that probably means you ought to take a look at it. Okay? If you do not rise every day with the joy that God has waiting for you to put in your heart, something's wrong. And what's wrong is you have your mind on the wrong things. You have your mind and you have your attention on the problems, not the solutions. And that's the difference between a victim and a PMP, or a preparedness-minded person, or a person who allows themselves and wants themselves to be led by God Himself. You know, the story that I often tell about this is the story about Jesus calling Peter out of the boat to walk on the water. Most of you are familiar with this. Jesus had been, in case you're not, I'll tell you, I'll give you the Cliff's Notes bit. Jesus had been preaching, and at the end of the day, He sent His disciples off across the lake, the sea, to their next stop, and he remained on shore to pray. In the middle of the night, a storm rose, a big storm, and it frightened the disciples, and they were scared to death. And all of a sudden, they look out across the waves, crashing waves. Imagine crashing waves, right? Your problems, the evil in the world, all these things that everybody wants to be concerned about. And they look out there, lightning, thunder. Put yourself there. Waves crashing, boat going, you know. And they look out there, and here's Jesus walking towards them across the water, towards the boat. They thought He was a ghost. They didn't know He was. They thought, oh, it's a ghost. He says, don't be afraid. It's me. Peter says, well, Lord, if it's really You, notice the doubt in there, but some faith too. If it's really You, bid me come out to You. And Jesus said, fine, come on out. Peter steps out of the boat, takes a couple of steps towards Jesus, and then the Bible says he noticed the storm. Well, of course, you know, the storm was always there. What that means is he took his eyes and his attention off of Christ and put it on the threat, the problem. And at that moment, he began to sink, because now he was given attention to the negative, to the fear, to the confusion, to the depression, all that kind of stuff, right? My neighbor mowing his lawn. I'm not upset. He began to sink. And he reached out his hand and said, save me, Lord. And of course, that's what Jesus did. He reached out and brought him back up. And he said, ah, ye of little faith. Too many people in the preparedness world, far too many people in the preparedness world, are constantly looking at the storm. And they enjoy looking at the storm because they feel comfortable in the storm. And they love to complain. And they love to compare their complaints. They love to be among the many who are concerned about the problems. Yes, there are problems. There are challenges in this world. I talk about many of them here. But the thing is, you shouldn't dwell on them. The problem shouldn't be the things driving your life. It shouldn't be the one affecting your mood. It should be the solutions you have your eye on. Okay? Here we have this situation. Here's what I'm going to do about it. That's preparedness. Or what should I do about it? And then think of it. What should I do? And then do it. Ask the Lord what to do. He'll tell you. But too many people are stuck in this constant whirlpool, toilet. Imagine the toilet, right? They're being flushed into horrible lives, or remaining in a life of constant fear, anxiety, depression, confusion, anger, because they simply won't get out of it, and they allow other people to keep them in it, and they want other people to join them in it. So, folks, guys, friends, amigos, God's given us a beautiful world. It's got evil in it, yeah. Doesn't mean you have to be a part of it. Do not be overcome by evil, but rather overcome evil by good. Look that one up. And then live every day in hope and positivity and joy in the many blessings the good Lord has given you. Stay away from the people who want to drag you down, and reach out to those who want to uplift you, because God wants to uplift you, and you know who wants to drag you down. And that tells you whose team everybody's on, right? All right. Share this video. A lot of people out there in the preparedness world need to hear this. A lot of people in the world need to hear it. It's just that the preparedness people live such a hypocritical life because they claim to want to be prepared, but they continue to consume this negativity that keeps them from being prepared. Okay? Hey. The Lord's given you a world, a beautiful world, and a wonderful life if you will make it so. If you will let Him. If you will stop doing the things that get in His way of giving you the blessings that He wants to. All right. Okay. That's my message this morning. You all have a great day. And like we always say, we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. Preparing well, living well, according to the grace of God, with positivity, doing what is right, not allowing yourself to be sucked under by the negativity of others. All right. Y'all have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.